in case this isn't obvious to you yet, because we didn't actually talk about it. When you're doing a butterfly, you can have either hand on top. So I am demonstrating now. If I were mirroring you, it would look like your right hand. It is my left hand on top. And now I'm doing what is my right hand, but looks like your left hand from your view that's on top. You may be more comfortable with the other one because you're so unfamiliar with the underhand opposite version. You may be more comfortable with the one that you didn't try. So figure out which one you prefer. And then because you said you had been working on the underhand thread the needle, if I were to break down technically what's happening, all you're doing is changing which hand is on top. This is my left hand on top, which is on the right side of your screen. Then this is my right hand on top, which is on the left side of your screen. And now I'm switching my hands, and I'm switching my hands, and then, and you could tell this one's my weaker one. And then I'm switching my hands, and I'm switching my hands, and switching, and switching, and switching, and switching. And that is a thread the needle. That is one way to get it. That is not necessarily the easiest or best way, but that's one way to get it. All you're doing, all you do is switch the hand that's on top. And at a really subtle level, right, you can see this happening, but it certainly isn't this exaggerated motion or this version of it, you know, from the performer view. Let's talk about the butterfly for a second and what makes it work. So if you look at it sideways, they look roughly like they're on the same plane. But if I relax the planes and you looked at each hand, you'll see my bottom hand is tilting forward like this. The top of the rotation is tipped that way, right? And then my top hand is tipped toward me. So that when it's together, that's what keeps it from hitting. One is tipped one way and one is tipped the other. And then when you switch the hand that's on top, technically, you're switching which one is tipped which way. So my bottom hand tipped away, but this is my other hand now. My top hand tipped toward, and this is my other hand now. Now, it doesn't have to be as exaggerated as I'm doing it for the purposes of this demo, but that is what's happening. If we were to talk about what's going on with the arm motion, in overhand thread the needle, you push out on top and you pull back on bottom. You push out on top, pull back on bottom. Now, so one is pulling in, the one that's on top is going to drop down and pull in, and the one that's underneath is going to raise up and push out, right? Zhunk, zhunk. That's for overhand. For underhand, it's the exact opposite. You pull in on top, zhunk, and drop down, and then you push out on bottom and then lift up. So zhunk. One way to think about it is if you imagine riding backward on a bicycle, as if you could pedal backwards. It's sort of like that, only in an oval shape like this. Another way to think about it, one metaphor we used to use with students was, if you imagine having opera gloves, you're pulling the glove on, you're pulling the glove on, you pull the glove on, you pull the glove on, you pull the glove on. So you're pushing your hand, your bottom hand into the glove, while your top hand is pulling the glove on. Zhunk, 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 zhunk. I guess the other thing that's helpful is the following. If your hands are really close to your body when you start, it's tough to move them in. So it's helpful to have it a little bit away, and like you were preferring with your right hand on top, it makes sense, whichever hand you prefer to be on top first is the one that you pull back first. So if you prefer it like this with the right on top, pull back, drop down, pull back, drop down, pull back, drop down, then push out. I would start with, I mean, we're just sort of jumping into the theory, but I would start with making sure you could do in and out with each hand individually. It is helpful. And making sure, you know, you feel relatively in control. And then if you were to look at it, that you're roughly on the same line. So it shouldn't be doing something like this, right? Or something like this. You want to roughly be coming in and out from the same point in space. with each hand.